What are the reasons for the rise of multinational corporations and foreign direct investment? Well, these two phenomena, the multinational corporations, the large firms that operate across borders, and investment that they conduct, such as setting up subsidiaries and factories abroad or buying other firms across borders, uh, these trends are important to be understood in a historical perspective. They just didn't, come to dominate in many ways our lives out of nowhere. They have started already in the 17th century with the rise of the trading empires of the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. So often these multinationals are actually associated with powerful countries who are trading and doing business across borders. The Dutch East India Company and the British East India Company are perhaps some of the first examples of multinational firms. Later on, it was with the rise of American multinationals that came to dominate and become quite widespread. Ford, for example, opened a factory in the UK in 1908 or early 20th century. Later, bought Opel in Europe in 1920s. And in particular, after the Second World War, we saw the era of big US multinationals, the McDonald's, Ford, General Motors, IBM. All these companies were expanding initially in Western Europe and later on also in other aligned countries, partly in Japan. Japan later in the 1970s produced its own multinationals with the rise of industrial power of that economy, Toyotas and Sonys and Panasonic. And we see now, after 2010, with the rise of China and its international business operations and ambitions, we see the rise of a new generation of multinationals from this rising global economic superpower companies such as Lenovo, Haier, and Tencent. So these historical trends show that, in particular, post Second World War, 1960s, and then from 1990s, with the opening up of the world economy, we've seen the rise of these companies. I would argue that they have risen because they give us what we want. They give us sophisticated, good products at good prices, and often you need to be quite a large company to really offer both a sophisticated product, because you need to invest a lot in research and development, and you also need to have good cost structure, which is often a result of you having some operations abroad in cheaper or more productive countries. In terms of some of the more recent trends, so in terms of foreign direct investment activity by these multinationals, that also picked up together with MNCs in 60s, 70s, as we went until recently. There's been quite a huge increase in the incidence of foreign direct investment across borders. In terms of regions, they are most attractive. Asia in the last 20 years became one of the most attractive destinations for foreign direct investment. But interestingly, the United States, in many years, including in 2021, was the largest recipient. That was historically true with Japanese companies investing in the US. Since it's such a large market, it's quite attractive for a lot of companies to set up operations there, to sell there, but also it's a place where there's high quality people in terms of R&D subsidiaries, for example. So we see that, Asia's rising, and last year I think accounted for maybe 40% of FDI. Other regions are quite strong, and the US, North America, and to a degree Europe are also attractive FDI destinations. So we'll see what is the future of MNCs and FDI with some of the more recent trends of perhaps shifting world order and a little less globalized world order. But I would argue that we'll see a continued rise, probably perhaps a bit more modest than in the last few years.